Hey guys, it's Peter Chen making a 500 zoom live play video. So on table 1, we called blind versus blind with ace 3, and we face a quarter pot bet. I think it's pretty close between a call and a fold. I'm not sure if I have to be calling that every time. On table 2, we're opening the small blind with ace 5, and on table 1, opening button with king 6 suited. And we're going to fold to this 3 bet with the ace 5. On table 1, I'm going to call this small blind raise with 10-7. This is going to be pretty much the bottom of what I'm calling. And on table 2, defending 3-way with king 9 in the big blind. With my middle pair on table 1, I'm just always going to call. And now on the turn, I think I can mix betting and checking. And my hand is not really strong enough to get any value on the river, so I'll just check back and hopefully win at showdown. There are only 15 players in the pool right now, so it's going to be a little slow to be dealt hands. On table 1, opening the button with pocket 3s. And on table 2, it goes check-check on the flop in a limped blind versus blind pot. I think I'll be mostly checking this hand, but betting sometimes. On the turn, I think also mostly checking, but betting sometimes. And folding to the river bet. On table 1, a button opened, and I called the big blind. I'm going to raise this a very small amount of the time. We'll raise it this time, and so we get a fold. On table 2, button opened, I called with Jack 10. So I think this is a hand that can raise sometimes and call sometimes as well. I'm going to call this time. We get this 2, and most of the time I think we're going to be facing a pretty big bet. And if I'm not calling my hand, I think I should be raising it a bunch. Now in the river, I want to be thinking about which hands I block, and I think I'm not blocking the hands I'm targeting to fold for a small bet, which would be all the missed draws. But I also block hands that will fold, that will call a pretty big bet, like a queen with a pair. So that's why I chose to bet pretty big. On table 1, I opened bet small on the flop and hit a straight. On table 2, opening the button with ace-jack suited. And on this flop, I'll just mostly be betting small on the flop. So against this 3-bet on table 2, I'm just going to fold my ace-9. I think ace-10 is going to be mixed. Either raise or call or fold. On table 1, opening the button with ace-6. And I'll mostly be calling this 3-bet, maybe 4-betting sometimes. So I'll always be calling this bet. And on the turn, I think mostly checking. On table 2, I open the button with 9-8. And on this flop, I'll either be betting big or checking. And my hand is probably mixed between both of those. And with this ace-6, I think I'm just checking back again. With the 9-8, I think on the turn I'll mostly be checking. My hand doesn't really make any better hands fold and doesn't get called by any worse, but has pretty decent showdown value. When the queen comes, all that showdown value is pretty much gone. All the worst hands that we're calling were like queen jack, queen 10, jack 10. I think this pocket twos is going to be mixed, opening and folding. We open and flop a set. This is a flop where I mostly want to be starting with a small bet. I think the ace is a much better card for me than it is for him, and I'm supposed to be betting pretty big. On table one, I open the small blind with king jack, and on this flop, I'll be starting with the quarter pot bet all the time. And on table two, this is another flop where I'll just be wanting to bet small. So on table one, I hit my straight. I think this hand is still a check sometimes, sometimes betting. Like even even our strong hands get to check sometimes, since we're not betting that often on this queen. I would guess maybe around half the time. So while our straight wants to bet more, it'll still be checking sometimes. So, both these hands are kind of loose opens. But once I've opened the 4-5, I think I just have to call any 3-bet. Like there are some hands that do pretty well basically against any range, and suited connectors are in there. I have a gut shot here, and I'm getting 4-1 to call. I think it's pretty close. Like hitting a 4 or 5 is going to be usually not good for me. I think this 9-7 is pretty close. Now I think I just have to check down and hope he has ace king or ace queen. I'm not really at the bottom of my range since I do have like the suited ace x that I called with. Nice that he did have ace king. So on table 2, this ace 4, I could either 3-bet or I could call. On table 1, I think I'm going to be mostly raising offsuit hands. So I'll just check back my 4-3. And against the pot size bet, I can fold. Table 1, opening ace-7 from the button. And folding to this 3-bet. On table 2, opening cutoff with 6-5 suited. I flop 2 pair on a flop where I'm probably supposed to check back a lot. So I'll be doing that with my hand. And on table 1, I open cutoff with ace-jack. Small blind calls me. Going to start off with a bet. I think I want to do a small amount of raising with my 6-5, but mostly calling. It's a pretty unfortunate river for me. I don't think he has a lot of 6x when he's betting for pot on the turn. So I'm guessing most of his hands are going to be air that is not calling or a hand that beats me, so I'm just going to check back. Opening ace jack on table 2. On table 2, opening small blind with 9-8 suited. On table 1, opening ace 8 suited in the cutoff, and on table 2, opening 10s in the cutoff. So on this ace 10-7 flop, we're going to be doing a lot of big betting and a lot of checking, and this hand is kind of in the middle. I'll be checking back a lot. With something like ace king or ace queen, I'll be mostly betting. And on the turn, I'll be mixing betting and checking again. And I think I'm still strong enough to go for value on the river. I can get called by worse aces. My kicker plays. I'll just be betting this hand always. On table 2, opening button with ace 3. This Dindy guy is doing a lot of calling from the small blind. I think this small blind calling range hits this King 10 board pretty well and also has a lot of suited cards. I think we're going to get some folds if we bet here. On table 2, opening king 6 in the cutoff. And on table 1 with 5-4, it's pretty close, but I think I am going to be calling it. On this flop on table 2, I'll be mostly starting off with a small bet. And on table 1, I'll be mixing betting and checking. I'll be defending both of these big blinds here. I flop nothing on both. I have a backdoor straight draw and a backdoor flush draw with this king 10. I don't know if I have to call it on an ace-high board. I think raising seems like an okay option as well. On table 2, opening the small blind with ace-8. And on table 1, I'll call this open from the big blind with king 6. He bets one big blind, but my hand is just too weak to call, I think. On table 2, opening ace-queen from the button. And opening hijack with jack 9 suited. Usually I record 2 videos in a row, but I think today I'll just be doing this one. The game is a little bit slow paced and also kind of a tough field. With this ace-3, I think I could either call or 4-bet it. And I'll be 3-betting this king 9 on table 1. So on this flop, I'll be either betting a small size or checking. And with the king 9 on a king high board, once I 3-bet, I'll just always be betting small. with the ace-3, I think I get to either bet or check again. I'll go for a check and call his bet unless he bets really big. With the ace-3, I think if I bet, I'm pretty much getting called by any pair, but I'm not getting called by ace-king, so I'll just check and hope to see a showdown. If he bets small, I'll definitely be calling. So this is a size that I'll be calling. Hopefully he has some ace-king, ace-jack, or just some other kind of ace-x suited. He could also just have like pocket jacks or nines or something, which is unfortunate that he has that, but I think my hand is good enough to call sometimes, maybe even all the time. All right, thanks for watching, and see you guys next week.